I just realized that thing is dirty as hell. Ugh, I need to clean that. 4-inch full titanium exhaust system from Boost Logic. What's up, fam? Now in today's video, I'm gonna be updating and upgrading all of my factory bolts that are on my GTR and all of my broken clips with these beautiful bolts and washers from JD Customs. Now this kit will come with everything that you need in order to replace all of the factory rusted, nasty bolts. I also went ahead and bought OEM factory GTR clips. This way we can go ahead and replace all the broken, nasty clips with these new ones. The other thing that I'm gonna go ahead and take a look at modifying, but I'm not 100% sure if I'm gonna do it yet, is removing this rear grille from here. I'm not too crazy about it, never have been on any GTR. And because I have that beautiful Boost Logic titanium exhaust in there, I want it to show more. And so I'm thinking about removing this grille. This way I can get the exhaust to show more through the back. Now, as many of you know, I also went ahead and got the Boost Logic front mount intercooler and intercooler piping kit. And if you remember, I mentioned in my video, I hate this grille on here. So I think I'm gonna remove the front bumper, also take out this grille. This way I can just get a clearer picture of the front mount intercooler. I just think that thing looks super freaking sexy.
Yeah, baby, yeah!
Now that's what I'm gonna be doing in today's video. If you have not yet joined the community, join the Bertini family, go ahead and click that subscribe button and the notification bell. This way you can stay up to date on all of my GTR build series content. With that being said, go ahead and roll the intro. Now we gotta go ahead and get the GTR and some jack stands. We're gonna be using our rear jacking point over there to get the GTR up. And I went ahead and bought these jack pads, I believe is what they're called, from Torque Solutions. And basically the way this works is this sits on top of this, and this goes into your jacking point on the GTR. Now for this job, I am gonna go ahead and remove the rear bumper. If I was just doing all of the bolts, I wouldn't have to remove any rear bumper whatsoever. I just remove the bolts that I'm replacing. But since I'm gonna be making this modification here potentially, I am gonna take off the entire rear bumper. You all have already seen me remove the interior liner on the inside of the trunk several times now. I'm gonna go ahead and get this out. This way I can get to the nuts that are holding in the bumper on this side and on this side, and then we'll work our way down to the bottom. All right, now that we have the interior liner out and the 5 nuts that go in the trunk out, we're gonna go ahead and jack up the GTR. All right, so now that the car is up on the side stands, let me go ahead and show you what we're gonna be doing under here. So we need to remove this bottom carbon diffuser over here. In order to do that, we need to pop out all of these clips. Look, I'm even missing clips under this thing. But we need to pull out all of these clips over here, as well as all of these bolts. Look, I'm even missing bolts. This is so silly and embarrassing at the same time. But we're gonna go ahead and pull out all of these bolts down here, over here. Every bolt that you pretty much see, we're gonna go ahead and pull that out. Now, assuming that you're not gonna be making any changes to this grille like I am here, just replacing all of the bolts that you get from JD Customs is pretty simple. You literally pop them out, you put the new ones in, and you're done. Never have to deal with rust again. By the way, when replacing these two, or these specifically that are here, they're on like paper thin clips in here, or the brackets themselves are like really flimsy. So you're gonna wanna be extra careful removing these. The reason why I'm able to use my impact gun on these and do it slightly is because I had taken these out before in the previous video when I was installing the reflectors, and I soaked them in CLP. So that's why, if you notice even here, there's a difference in coloration down here. This whole area under this has been soaked in CLP along with the bolts. So just be really careful when removing these and replacing them. For those of you who are looking to do this same modification that I'm gonna be doing here on the rear, so what I'm calling it is the rear grille delete.
Brother, what's that? What's that, brother?
Let me just show you under here what you're gonna have to consider. The reason why you're gonna have to remove the rear carbon diffuser, by the way, damn, look at that Boost Logic 4-inch titanium exhaust pipe.
Damn!
That thing looks super freaking nice. Back on topic. So you're gonna have to pull off these little clips right here. So if you're wondering, can you take out the grill without removing the bottom? I mean, I guess you could cut it out or like remove it that way, but I'm not gonna go that route. I'm gonna pop these clips off. This way I can modify the grill off of the GTR. I did a thing. I ended up using some of this Mother's mag and aluminum polish to polish up the titanium and make it look brand new again. This way, when you're looking from the back of my GTR, you can see the Boost Logic titanium exhaust and it looks so damn nice. It's all about the little details. All right, well, the first cut's made, and so far, so good. Now I think I'm gonna try to get into the details here and just finally trim out this area, maybe some of this. Obviously, I'll trim these down and maybe some more of this, and then I'll be left with just a piece that I need. We'll go ahead and clean this up, degrease it and stuff, and it'll be good to go back onto the GTR. So I just finished up the piece here. It came out really good. I am gonna tell you this. I do plan on wrapping this. I'm not sure what color yet or what pattern I wanna wrap this, but I do plan on wrapping it, although this thing came out really, really nice. So just so you guys can see, it came out super nice. That's what I ended up leaving, just this little bit here on the end. I figured I didn't need to cut it and it helps keep it a little bit more sturdy, so I kept it in place. And then what I did was for the top, as you can see here, it's really cleaned up. But basically what I did was I used a 180 grit sandpaper up to a 400. Then I went to this pad with water on it. After I did that, I then really quickly took my torch and just went over it back and forth really quick. But I mean like super quick. For those of you who don't know, on plastics, that actually helps restore the shine that plastics get from the factory. And so that's exactly what it did. And it came out super nice. I mean, it looks like a factory piece right now, meaning like it came from the factory that way. Obviously, I know it's a factory piece. Anyways, let's go ahead and get this back onto the GTR and start working on putting everything back together. I just did some ceramic coating on the bottom of the under tray, the carbon under tray, or rear diffuser, whichever one you want to go with. I just wanted to leave it here so you can see the difference. This is ceramic coated, that is prep. Ceramic coated, prep. Clearly it came out super nice though. I just got everything back together, and let me tell you something, my initial impressions of this thing is highly recommend doing this modification, at least for me, especially if you have the Boost Logic titanium exhaust system. It just shows from the back now, which looks really good. Look at this freaking view now from the back. That thing looks super sick. I'm planning on replacing that support for the carbon diffuser. This one right in here, I'm planning on replacing that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna buy another one of these, like a brand new one, and then take it to get anodized or powder coated, probably not anodized, probably powder coated. Or maybe I just leave it black. But yeah, this came out exactly the way that I wanted to. Now you can see the Boost Logic 4-inch full titanium exhaust system, which looks super freaking sexy. The other thing to note, by the way, and something that I noticed, is you don't actually have to keep this plastic piece on here. So the piece that I modified, you don't have to keep it on here. It's up to you whether you want to keep it or not. I feel like it gives it a little bit more of a finished look, but it's not needed in order to do this modification. You could technically just pop this whole grill out the way that I showed you earlier and run it with no grill or anything and just the diffuser here. The other thing was I took this saw that I have here and the razor blade, and I did a super clean cut here of the tabs that were all sticking out from what holds in the grill, and it just gives it a really clean look to it now. And then with all the new clips and bolts in here, it looks so much better without all that rust. It's really cool that there's companies like JD Customs that make kits like these, because it's kind of hard to piece together a bunch of like nuts and bolts and washers and all that other good stuff. And since they package it up really nicely, it's just easier to buy this kit and then go in and just replace all the stuff that you need to replace on it and get rid of all that nasty rustedness. Take time with it, be patient, because some of your bolts, if they're like my old ones, were like super rusted into place and I had to use CLP, as you might have seen on previous videos, in order to remove them. So just be super patient, because if you're not, you might break a bolt or you might break something, and that's gonna be a lot more expensive to fix. And it's also gonna be a lot more time consuming when you could have just taken your time, been patient, put some CLP on there, let the bolt loosen up a little bit, go back and forth, put it in, put it out, put it in, put it out. This way you're playing it safe and you don't have to worry about needing a bolt extractor or anything along those lines. With that, and now I'm even more excited to do this front grille. The rear was a big deal for me, but this front one is like, I'm sure as you know from previous cars, I can't stand these front grills. I like the look of the intercooler, just the intercooler by itself, it just gives me a really like Fast and the Furious kind of vibe without anything covering the intercooler. Say what you want in the comment section, but I like that. Now let's go ahead and get the front lifted up, get it on jack stands, and then get this front bumper off so we can make the modification to the front grille. Stay tuned. I already have about 3 or 4 videos now outlining how to remove the front bumper, because we've had to remove it quite a few times now for the headlight. We've had to do it for the intercooler and intercooler piping. Forget what else we've had to do it for, but we've done it a few times. So I have videos detailing the process on how to do this, but it's pretty simple. There's some clips up here that you have to remove. There's some clips on the side, 2 screws on both sides that you have to remove. And then under here, there's some bolt and clips you have to pull out as well. But it's a pretty simple process. I can already see a bunch of clips I'm gonna need to replace because these things are super freaking nasty. Same thing with these bolts, they look super freaking nasty. Also, seeing this, I'm definitely gonna have to replace the front lip at some point because this thing looks beat to crap. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and finish up removing these bolts out of here as well as the clips, this way we can get the front bumper off. Now that I have the bumper off, I wish I would have purchased new ones of these. They sell aftermarket ones just because these things look super ugly. So to remove this grill piece, we're gonna have to pop each of these things off these tabs right here. If you notice, the top one is done the exact same way. So it's like all these clips or tabs that you have to just press in to pop these off. This is also where, if you're interested in changing out your GTR badging on the front, where you'd go ahead and remove it. It's these 2 screws right here, and then this piece just pops back. So let's go ahead and pop these things off here so we can get this grill removed and see if there's any trimming required for this mod. Now that I have the grill prepped for cutting, something I'd recommend whenever cutting plastics or carbon fiber, or actually any material in general, wear breathing protection and eye protection, because even though you don't think this stuff is destroying your lungs, there's several studies on this stuff that shows that this stuff destroys your insides. So make sure you're wearing breathing protection. So I have everything masked up here of where exactly I'm going to be making my cuts at. Just like on the rear bumper, I'm going to be using this to make my initial cut, and then I'll be using my razor blade just to go back and clean everything up really nice. So I really have to get an AC in this garage. Florida heat is no freaking joke. So I used a razor to clean up around the edges. Eventually what I think I am gonna do, just because I'm really nitpicky about things, is I think I'm going to go back and run some touch-up paint here. What I've done now in the meantime is I've taken some 800 grit sandpaper with water and just like sanded down just so you can see how it has that like glossy finish around it now. But I think it came out really good. So now we'll go ahead and put back on the front bumper so we can see how everything looks. And of course, when installing it this time, we're going to go ahead and finish it off with using the bolts and washers that we got from JD Customs, which, if I haven't mentioned this already, I'll go ahead and include links in the description box below to this stuff as well as to the OEM caps, or clips I should say, not caps. So I just got to show you the massive amount of screws that you take off. I don't know how many's in here, but it definitely is more than like 60. Plus with all the broken and nasty clips, we replaced all of those. Actually, I just realized you can go to JD Customs, they tell you how many is in the pack, and that's how many screws you're changing out. Duh. So you know how excited I got about this? I almost forgot to film the outro, but let me go ahead and show you exactly how this turned out. So I feel like now without the grill there, it really does give it like a more aggressive vibe. It gives you really that like, my car can give you the business kind of vibe. I just realized that thing is dirty as hell. Ugh, I need to clean that. And let me show you the rear again. This thing came out super freaking nice. Exactly how I envisioned it to come out, with the titanium exhaust visible. By the way, for those who are interested, that is a 4-inch full titanium exhaust system from Boost Logic. I'll go ahead and include links in the description box below if you're interested in picking one of these things up. But yeah, it looks exactly the way that I envisioned it to look. Well, that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you found it entertaining or found it useful, do me a big favor, hit the like button. That really helps out the video, really helps out my channel too. And if you have not yet joined the community, what are you waiting for? Click that subscribe button and the notification bell. This way you can stay up to date on all of my future content, especially on my GTR build series. With that being said, make sure you're putting out good energy into the world and you're paying it forward. I'll check y'all out later. Bye now.